the air. I'm ready to get started whenever you are.
All set. Here we go. Once you've finished taking off, I'll guide you to all the best spots. Jackson Hole Airport is the only commercial airport in the U.S. located inside a national park. Since the National Park Service successfully opposed a plan to extend the runway, the airport has some fairly unique flight restrictions due to the short runway, high altitude, and noise limitations. Now that we're in a cruise, we should make our way to the historic Mormon Road District, the first landmark on our tour. Just follow the markers like we planned. Grand Teton National Park is named after Grand Teton, the tallest mountain in the Teton Range. At approximately 485 square miles, or 1,300 kilometers, the park includes the major peaks of the 40-mile-long Teton Range, as well as most of the northern sections of the valley, known as Jackson Hole. The human history of the Grand Teton region dates back at least 11,000 years. The Jackson climate at that time was colder and more alpine than the one found today, and the first humans were migratory hunter-gatherers spending summer months in Jackson Hole and wintering in the valleys west of the Teton Range. In the early 19th century, the first European settlers encountered the Eastern Shoshone people. Between 1810 and 1840, the region attracted fur trading companies that vied for control of the lucrative beaver pelt trade. The United States government dispatched the first expeditions to the area in the mid-19th century, and Mormon homesteaders began arriving in the 1890s from Idaho, creating a community called Gros-Ventre, with a total of 27 homesteads. Ahead of you, you'll see the T.A. Moulton Barn. The barn is all that remains of the homestead built by Thomas Alma Moulton and his sons between about 1912 and 19... It sits west of the road, known as Mormon Row, in an area called Antelope Flats. Now lying within Grand Teton National Park, the property with the barn was one of the last parcels sold to the National Park Service by the Moulton family. Often photographed, the barn with the Teton Range in the background has become an iconic symbol of the area. Speaking of which, feel free to take some photos along the journey. With views like these, they're sure to be breathtaking. It may look calm and innocuous today, but this valley has experienced Pleistocene Ice Age glaciers advancing across it many times. Each time the glaciers melted, a raging torrent of meltwater flowed across the valley floor. The powerful flow carved terraces that step down to the modern Snake River. Our visual guide for this leg of the tour. Running parallel to Snake River is U.S. Route 191, which connects many national parks as it runs north-south. Following it north would bring us straight to Yellowstone National Park, famed for its geysers and bison herds. Although, of course, for us, we could just fly there. Snake River enters the park from the north and flows initially into Jackson Lake before winding through the valley floor, carrying snowmelt from the mountains westward towards the Pacific Ocean. Many species of wildlife use the river, from the browsing moose to the industrious beaver. Snake River once hosted some of the largest North American runs of salmon and other anadromous fish who migrate up the river from the sea to spawn. For thousands of years, salmon fishing has played a central role in the culture and diet of indigenous peoples. The Shoshone and Nez Perce were the largest of several tribes that lived along the river by the turn of the 19th century. In 1805, while searching for a route from the eastern U.S. to the Pacific, Lewis and Clark became the first non-natives to see the river. Jackson Lake Dam is a concrete and earth-filled dam that was created by damming the outlet of the natural glacial Jackson Lake. The additional water height created a storage pool for the Minidoka project, which provides irrigation water from the Snake River for farmlands in Idaho. The first Jackson Lake Dam was a log crib dam constructed in 1906 and 1907 across the outlet of Jackson Lake. That dam raised the lake level by 22 feet, but it failed in 1910. The current concrete and earthen dam was constructed in stages between 1911 and 1916, raising the maximum lake level to 30 feet above the lake's natural elevation and giving us the Jackson Lake we see today. Jackson Lake is the remnant of large glacial gouging from the neighboring Teton Range to the west and the Yellowstone Plateau to the north. The lake is primarily fed by the Snake River, which flows in from the north and empties at Jackson Lake Dam. It is one of the largest high-altitude lakes in the United States at an elevation of 6,772 feet above sea level. Located near the northern end of Jackson Lake is John D. Rockefeller Jr. Memorial Parkway, which extends to the south entrance of Yellowstone National Park. Along with surrounding national forests, these three protected areas constitute the almost 34,375 square mile, or 89,000 square kilometer, Greater Yellowstone ecosystem, one of the largest intact mid-latitude temperate ecosystems in the world. Now we'll pass into Moran Canyon, bringing us into the heart of the Teton Range. The bay and canyon are named after Mount Moran, itself named for Thomas Moran, an American Western frontier landscape artist. Moran Canyon was formed by glaciers, which retreated at the end of the last glacial maximum, approximately 15,000 years ago. Tectonic extension, or stretching and thinning of the Earth's crust, caused the genesis of the Teton Mountain Range along the Teton Fault 9 to 10 million years ago. The west block along the fault line rose to form the Teton Range, creating the youngest mountain range in the Rocky Mountains. The fault's east block fell to form the valley known as Jackson Hole, where we started our journey. Moran Creek confluence is the location where the north and south forks of Moran Creek merge to form the larger creek running through Moran Canyon. Creeks like these are fed by rainfall from the surrounding mountains, melting snowpack, and the high-altitude alpine lakes scattered along the range. We are now near the western edge of Grand Teton Park. The mountain slopes to your right are part of Jedediah Smith Wilderness, located within Caribou-Targhee National Forest. Encompassing the western slopes of the Teton Range, the wilderness protects the area's delicate ecosystems, in part by prohibiting motorized and mechanized vehicles within its boundaries, even including bicycles. Like most smaller lakes in the area, Lake Solitude was formed by glacial action that carved out the valley and left a moraine behind, acting as a dam to retain the lake's water. Though covered in snow and ice for much of the year, the lake does contain fish, and adventurous hikers can occasionally be seen going for a swim. We've arrived at the Cathedral Group, the tallest collection of mountains in the Teton Range. Formed over millennia by multiple glacial cycles, these are classic alpine peaks with distinctive pyramidal summits. Half of the remaining dozen glaciers in the Teton Range are located in this cluster of high peaks, including the largest, Teton Glacier, located on the north face of Grand Teton. Grand Teton is the highest mountain of the group at 13,770 feet in height, rising more than 7,000 feet above our starting point at Jackson Hole. The Cathedral Group is separated from other tall peaks of the range by the Cascade Canyon to the north and Avalanche Canyon to the south. This brings us to the end of our tour. I hope you've enjoyed the incredible sights of Grand Teton National Park during our journey and have learned a few things about its natural and human history. Feel free to keep exploring the area if there's something that catches your eye. It's always a joy to fly in this park.